Hi everyone, my name is Piterpakulski. Today we'll continue building financial model for a manufacturing business idea, and today we will be focusing on a sensitivity analysis. So we will be looking at stress tests. So this is a very interesting topic that I would like to share with you. So for example, you've created the model, you got the cash flow statement, you see the financial efficiency of your business idea, see the net present value, internal rate of return, simple discounted payback period, and you may think that everything's okay with your business idea, but you've got to know how stable your business idea is. What will happen with your business idea if some expenses will grow or some sources of revenues will decrease? So for that purpose we need to design some instrument that will help you to evaluate how different parameters affect the financial efficiency, and today we'll be talking about that. Maybe this video will be useful for you. You may give us a like, subscribe, share this video with your friends. You can also order financial models from scratch for your unique business ideas. We can help you with that. At the end screen of this video, I will be giving you the link to the playlist where I will put all these tutorials. And when I will be done with this financial model, I will place all the tutorials in the description of this video so you can watch one by one from scratch. So first of all, let's briefly run through the model that we already created. So we have the rule through the whole financial model that all blue cells are our inputs. All other cells are formulas, so we're not touching them when we create some scenarios. So we're touching only this type of cells, blue cells. So during previous videos we were modeling, so we have two products, product A and product B, so we can switch them on and off. We have two manufacturing lines, we can switch them on and off. We can allocate the time for producing product A and product B for each line. We can specify when we start operating activity, month and year. We can also specify how fast we reach the target revenues right from the moment when we start operating activities. Then we assume that we have for each manufacturing line, and we can switch them on and off. Then we specify the amount of hours in one shift and move to the specification of how many work days per month do we have inside a typical year. And then we created the block for raw materials, and then we described what raw materials participate in manufacturing of product A and product B. Then we moved to this is the investment plan. Here we specify what we invest in, and then we specify how much we invest in and when we invest in before we start the operating activity. Then we moved to payroll, which is connected to the production line number 1 and production line number 2. Then we moved to the payroll which is stable. Then we move to the payroll which is directly connected with the amount of units produced of product A and product B. Then we assume that we have different customers for product A and product B, and each type of customer has its own pricing and payment algorithm for us. Then we moved to electricity costs. Then we describe direct costs linked to the amount of raw materials needed for the manufacturing process. Then we moved to the direct costs that are linked to the amount of shifts per month for line number 1 and line number 2. Then we move to packaging costs, the pallets expenses. Then we described fixed costs. Then we were focused on the loan modeling. Then we created the cash flow statement, calculated the amount of financing needed for our business idea, calculated simple, discounted payback period, profitability, discounting. Then we were talking about different types of profitability, loan coverage ratio. Here are some diagrams. Then we were creating the tab for internal rate of return calculation. And now it's time to move to sensitivity analysis. So what I will do, so I have the table like this, where I would like to add just one line, for example, financing needed. So I will put the data from here. And now first of all we will start with saving our file as Excel macro enabled workbook. So this will be the first step. Now we can create a new tab. We will call it Sense. I will put the financials here, copy, paste, then we now have to create the parameter coefficient. So the basic value of this coefficient will be 100%. And this coefficient later will be added to different revenues, expenses parameters, and this will test these financial efficiency if the parameter will grow or decrease added to this or that parameter or for inputs. So then step of adjustment. So let's say that the step of adjustment will be 10% for this for any parameter that we will be looking at. So now, for example, we have basic value and then we write the formula. So if this value minus this percentage minus this percentage will be less than 0, we will put 0, otherwise we will put this value minus this value. Okay. Now let's add this step here. Here we will place the parameters. Now let's put formatting here. And now it's time for us to write a very simple macro for sensitivity analysis. So I will go to data or view macro, right? We will go to view, then we will go to record a macro. I will call it sensitivity analysis. I will assign a short key ctrl plus q. Description will be sensitivity analysis. Okay, and now you can see that we are recording the macro. So what I will do, so first of all I will put here this value, then I will copy these values, put it here. Then I will do the same for the next step of sensitivity analysis. Then I will take the next step. Now let's return the basic value of our parameter, and now we can press stop for recording the macro. And now we can delete these values. We can press Ctrl Q, and now we can see how our macro calculated. So what we can do now? Now our parameter is not assigned to the model. But now, for example, we can go to the model. We can go, for example, up. And here we have lots of coefficients. And we can, for example, add a sensitivity analysis to amount of units of product B and A and product B produced hourly. So we can take the basic value of speed of production and multiply to this coefficient. Then press enter. And now we can look at our financials, simple, discounted payback period, internal rate of return, financing needed. What will happen to our project if we increase or decrease the productivity of our equipment. So I just added this parameter, and now I will press Ctrl Q. So here we can see if we increase the productivity of manufacturing, we can see that payback period is decreasing, discounted payback period is decreasing. For example, what we can do now, we can detach this coefficient from, for example, from global production coefficient, and we can, for example, add this coefficient, for example, to direct expenses, for example. go up. So we can, for example, add this coefficient to raw materials. Raw materials. So now we added our coefficient. And by the way, what we can do, we can go to developer section. We can press here insert, add a button, draw a button, assign our macro to this button, press OK. We can name this button as sense. And now we can press it, and the magic will happen. So as we can see, if our expenses will grow, the simple discounted payback period will start growing. Net present value will start going down. And what we can do, we can add here, for example, a column called target. And for example, we will be interested in simple and discounted payback period. Not more than, for example, 50 months. Let's say so. 50 months, we don't have some targets. We just need net present value be positive, for example. Internal rate of return, for example, we want it to be not less than 18, for example. Financing needed, let's say not more than 4 billion, for example. So these are the targets. We will make them as inputs, for example. And what we can do, we can create a conditional formatting for these lines. So for example, I will create here a new rule. So use a formula. At this value is more or equals to, will be more than this value, I will put here fill will be red and font will be white. Okay. I will extrapolate this format to the right. So for example 60, then if everything will be alright, I will be putting green. Then conditional formatting, new rule, use formula. At this value will be more than this value. Format will be, fill will be red, font will be white. Okay. And then for net present value, for example, conditional formatting, new rule, use formula. So here the rule will be if this value less or equals 0, then format will be, fill will be red, font will be black, font will be, sorry, white. The same rule will be for this line. For internal rate of return, conditional formatting, new rule, use formula. So this value is less than this value. So the format will be, fill will be red and font will be white. Then financing needed. So if conditional formatting, new rule, use formula, so this value is more than this, then format will be, fill will be red, font will be white, then we press OK, then we extrapolate this formula to the right. And now, for example, let's increase this step of changing the direct expenses. So now let's push the Sense button again. So now, for example, we can add these parameters. So we can, for example, go here, Control X. So now we can add these parameter, for example, we can go to investment plan, for example, here, for example, here we have the comment. We can add this parameter to here.
Press equals. Now we have our equipment parameter added. We can go back to Sense. Now we can just press delete to empty this area. Now we can press the Sense button.
So we can, for example, we can see 0 here. We can go to internal rate of return, adjust the step of changing the internal rate of it's the step of changing the discount rate. Now we can go back. We can, for example, even increase the step of changing the adjusting of the parameter. And now let's press sense again. So now we can even create the diagrams from these lines. So we can insert diagram, this diagram, sensitivity analysis. So the importance of the sensitivity analysis. So for example, if we have positive values of financial efficiency at basic scenario, for example, if some parameter starts growing, we will have negative net present value, and during financial stress testing, playing with different parameters of inputs, we may find critical parameters significantly affecting our business model. So for example, we can move this parameter from investment plan and add this parameter to the payroll, for example. So I can add this parameter to any input and see what will happen with financial efficiency if, for example, payroll will grow or decrease, what will happen with financial efficiency. So now I will press sense button again. So for example, I can play with targets, for example, here. I can play with, for example, for internal rate of return, I can say that all is less than for example 30 will be unacceptable. For financing needed, unacceptable will be all is more than for example like this, or let me like this, for example. And we can play with all the targets. We can play with this step. We can add this parameter to any input inside the model and see what will happen with simple discounted payback period, net present value, any other financial that you would like to add in this list. And this is how sensitivity analysis helps entrepreneurs to look at their business models in some kind of dynamic way, because here in this tab where model exists, it's some kind of static story, but here we can use some flexible instruments to look what will happen with the business idea if any parameter of inputs will grow or decrease. And that's very interesting. This is very helpful for entrepreneurs, so that's why I decided to show you today this tutorial about sensitivity analysis. So you can give us a like, subscribe, share this video with your friends. You can also order financial models from scratch for your unique business ideas. We can help you with that. At the end screen of this video I will give you the link to the playlist where I will put all these tutorials. And when I'm done with this financial model, I will put all the links on these tutorials in the description of this video as well. So thank you guys for watching. See you next videos. Thank you and bye.